Creating your own custom macros, which you can save as titles and add them onto your edit page, can really save you a lot of time and make your workflow run very smoothly. So in this video, I'm going to show you how I made this into a title, and if you stick around until the end of the video, I will show you how to save a little picture so you have a thumbnail attached to that under your titles. So let's jump into the Fusion page and see how to do this. So as you can see here, I have the Fusion composition on the timeline from the edit page. I'm just going to click on that. I have my scroller over it, and I'm going into the Fusion. Now, this may look complicated. This is actually not that complicated. I chose to use this one to show you how simple you can make a macro, even when it kind of looks like it might be something a little difficult. So let's get into here and look. What we see here, this here is all of what I created for this. All of this that you see here, which has all these green lines, are what we call instances. So this is basically, I kind of doubled it. I put that up here, so that's what turns into the particles, and this was the main stuff that was there. Now, all of this stuff is not that important for you. The point is to show you what we're going to focus on when creating the macro to make it simple. So every one of our nodes here, so let's take a look at this. Our nodes are going to have this stuff over here on the right. You know, this has all your settings and things like that. So this is my background, the white background for that. I do not need to make any edits to this, but I'm going to save it in a way to show you how you can customize any of your macros. What we want to do is we want to make sure that we select in the correct order. So the first thing that we might want to do is have our colored backgrounds. So there's going to be that background, which is the white. So what I'm going to do is I'm going to click on that. Now I also want to make sure that I'm in order and I get that rectangle. So I'm going to press Command. I'm on a Mac, so I'm using Command, and I'm going to click the white rectangle. I'm still holding down my Command button. I'm going to come over and check for my red background because I want to make sure I work in them in order. So I'm going to click red background, then my red rectangle. Next, I want to go into my text. So I'm going to click the first one, which is sub, and my second one, which is scribe. Now I am finished with the direction I want to select them for my editing purposes. Now I'm going to hold the shift button down. I'm going to click here. I'm going to drag this. I'm going to select every node except for the media out. Do not select the media out, and I let that go. Now all of these are selected, and I can choose any node I want to, and I'm going to right click on. Once I right click, we're going to come up to here, which says macro, and we're going to create our macro. When you do, you get this. Anything that is red is showing that it has some action to it, but you don't have to worry about it. What we need to do is follow. Remember, the first thing I did was click the white background, and that's the first thing that came up. Second one was the rectangle, then the red background, then the red rectangle. Then we have the sub and the scribe. And these are the things that I want to have on the edit page. So you see they're white. That means that nothing is selected within them. So let's start with the white background. What I'm going to do is choose anything that I click on here and choose, that is going to then come up over to here. So while we're looking at this one for white background, let's come down to the node and click on the node. Now we can see here anything that we want. If you want your global in, out, color, image settings, any of these things that you want, we're going to find them in here. I'm just going to minimize image. I don't want to change the image at all. However, let's look here. So maybe we want to make changes here. So we'll go with color. I'm going to select the type, the color. So look, type is here. That's solid color. You can change it to any of these. By selecting that, that will then put this onto the edit page. The color will allow you to adjust this. So now we have the ability to change the color, and let's just select those. All right, so I'm going to minimize that. Now, if you wanted to, you can come on to common. I'm not going to do it, but if you needed to add motion blur and quality or something like that, you can find that here. So I'm not adding that However, keep that in mind if it's something you want to use. I'm going to minimize that. Now you see this has become red because now it has things that are going to go onto the edit page. So now let's do the white rectangle, which is the rectangle for this one. So one of the things that I might want is, say, a soft edge, border width, invert, solid, center, width, height, corner radius, and angle. So we have these things selected. I'm going to minimize all of that. I do not need to do anything else with it. So I'm going to do exactly the same thing with the red background and the red rectangle, but I'm not going to bore you with it. We'll just skip right to that. Okay, now that's done. Let's go into the text, and this will be an important one for you. You're probably going to use this in almost all of your macros. Okay, so let's click on sub. So here I've clicked on the node sub, so we can see what's going on here. I don't need to do anything for the image. So now I'm going to go to text, and text would be this. So we're going to do text style, which would be this, what you're writing. Then we're going to go under there. We want the font, the bold, the color, size, tracking, line spacing, and I will go with V anchor. So I'm going to select all of them. Green, blue, alpha, size, tracking, line spacing, and V anchor. I don't want some of this stuff, so I'm going to skip over there, and I'm going to come all the way down to start and end, which is here, which is my right on. And that is all that I want from this text tab. Now there's the next tab is what we call layout. So you might want to use that. You'll probably use this quite often, which has your ability to adjust where it's going to be. So you find that under where it says text, you're going to come to layout. And the layout will have here your type, your center, center Z, size, perspective. So let's select them. Transform. So let's look at your transform. So if you want to do transform your characters, words, lines, yeah, you can do all that. I'm not going to select anything for the purpose of this video. However, let's go to shading. So shading, I don't need any of this here. I come down to where it's opacity. So we're going to come all the way down here where it has sort by, which has priority and Z depth. I don't need that. But the next one is opacity, blending, appearance, thickness, adaptive perspective, outside only, clean intersection. So we're looking at these things here. So this is from that appearance. So now here you see where we have type, the space between there. So we have the type, the space, and now let's add the color, the green, the blue, the alpha. And then I will come down here. The next thing I want to do is I want to get this XY glow and blend. This is for softness. So we got the X, the Y, apply softness, glow, and blend. And that is what I will do for all of the text. I'm going to do the same exact thing for the scribe, but I'm not going to bore you with it, so we're just going to jump right to it. Okay, so now you see all of these are done, and they've all turned red. They were once white. The next thing we need to do is we need to save the macro, and there's going to be 2 folders where we must save this in. So the first thing we're going to do is here under these 3 dots, we're going to click that, and we're going to go to Save as Group. I'll just name this one Subscribe Particles, and this one's being saved as a group, so I want to make sure that I know that. So this is my group. What I'm going to do is when I select Save, it's going to save it under here, under this macros folder, and I'll show you how to access that. Let's first take a look at what that group will do so you can understand how to use that. If you create yourself another Fusion composition, and you need to just access those nodes. So what you're going to be able to do is you're going to be able to go through your Finder, and you find that under your macros folder. So under my macros folder, we just created Subscribe Particles Group. So if you take that and you drag it into your Fusion page and drop it like this, you will then get a group. If you double click that group, it's going to expand, and it's going to show you the group of nodes that you created, in which you could just easily take this and drag this to a media out node and get your media out. I could have not saved it as a group. Let me just show you. I'm going to select everything. I'm not going to redo that whole process. I'm going to go back there to show you what you can do instead of creating it as a group. You just come up here, select on these 3, and select Save As. This will not be a group. This will just be a .settings file. However, if you did it as a group and you forgot to do it as a .settings file, then I will show you how to correct that super simple. So let me close this out. Let's open that back up. So let's find our dot settings file, which was the group. I'm going to right click this and I'm going to open this with a text edit file, and we're going to open this here. So as you can see here, it has group operator in the front. Okay, let me show you what one looks like without the group. So what we have here, this one is not a group. This is just macro operator. So I'm going to just Command C that. So we want macro and then operator instead of group. So here in our group, I'm going to change this. I'm going to turn that to macro operator. We'll save that. So closing that out, I'm going to rename this because I don't want it as group. So now let me come back into the Fusion page, and I'm going to drop that in there so you can see what the difference was. Now, as you remember before, we had the group, and now it is only the dot settings file, and now you can see it's only one single node, which means that all of this is now only this. It's not a group. You cannot open it unless if you change the text file. Okay, so the next thing we need to do is we need to create ourselves a title. So as you can see here, I have created some of my own titles here, which also includes this one. So let's go back into these. I have my macros here, and then I will have my titles folder. If you cannot figure out what your path is and how to get there, it's super easy. What you can do is while you are in here, you go onto your Fusion page, just select how many ever you want. You're going to come up here, select macro, create macro, come here to this. You want to click on this, click Save As. Once you are here, you know that you saved everything in this folder. Just right-click, and if you're on a Mac, this is how to do it. You just click Show in Finder. It's going to automatically bring you into that folder. Now you know where you're at. So what you have to do from here is you're going to come back a little bit to where your macros folder is. You got to come down to templates. You find templates. The next thing you should find is an edit folder. If you do not have an edit folder, just create an edit folder. Then you come over here. You have your effects, your generators, and your titles. So what we're going to do is we're going to put things into the titles. If you want to create a custom folder for yourself or for a client that you're putting these things in, make a folder here. So that's exactly what I'm going to do is I'm going to create a folder specifically for this video. So let's create a new folder, and we're just going to do YouTube. So now what I'm going to do, I'm going to cancel that. Let me go back in this. Okay, so now I have this one's open with YouTube. Here is, let me go back to my macros. Here we go. So here we have the macros, and this is where that macro is. This is the one that we just made. What I'm going to do is right-click, copy. I'm going to go into my YouTube. I'm going to right-click, paste. Now I have that in there. However, let's go to the edit page. Let's go to titles, and you see now I now have a YouTube folder. Oh wow, it's even showing up already. Look at that. Normally, I would have to quit DaVinci Resolve and restart it for it to show up. I don't know why, but it just showed right up there. This is the first time for that, so that's interesting. There's a couple things to know here for this. We want to go ahead and drop that on there, and it'll work totally fine. Another important thing is when you test these out, do not test it in the project that you are using. Find another project and make sure you test it there, because when you make something here and then you test it, it might work. Then you go into another project and it doesn't work. So this is where you want to test it. So I'm going to leave this project. I'm going to come up here to File, Open Recent. I created this as for test project. This has nothing there, so now I can take this, I can drag it and drop it right on there. Let's see if it works. Okay, yeah, it's working. That looks good. Okay, so while that is rendering out, I'd like to take a moment to introduce myself. If we haven't met already, my name is Chad, and I make DaVinci Resolve tutorials to help speed up your workflow and help you grow your business. I create systems and processes that help your workflow run absolutely smooth, so you can spend more time doing the things you need to do to grow your business. So if this information is useful for you, please hit that like button. And if you want more, subscribe and turn that bell notifications on. I really appreciate it. one of the things that we did was we created all those different things that we can edit it with. So let's take a look at them and make sure all of that is correct. So what we're going to do is make sure we hover over this. We click on here. Now we have all of this stuff here in which we created. The first thing we did was we created that white background, which if you wanted to change some colors, I'm going to cancel that. I don't need to change. Or you can use your sliders. You can change to your gradient if you wanted, whatever you want to create. So that would be the soft edge of that rectangle, which of course I don't need, but it's just there. Border width of the rectangle, we'll undo that. And remember, when you create something like this, you already set parameters and you move it, there's going to be this little dot. You just click that little dot and it'll bring back like soft edge. I'll just click that dot. If you want to change where the location is, that was all created there. So now we also created here, which is the text. So if I wanted to edit the text, I can change whatever style I want. That is what I'm using here, inner bold. You can change the size of your text, the tracking, line space, that doesn't matter there. There's the V anchor. Then you have your right on and things like that. And that's just for the sub. And this also has, say, if you want to change the blending. So you can change the blending if you wanted to. And the colors for that. And then there's scribe. All of the same things there. And then there's also the settings. So all those settings that I created can be changed there as well. So that is how you create your own macro and add it to the titles, creating your own personal folder or something for a client, getting everything nice and organized. And now you also know how to create all those controls. And so you can figure out what controls you want and adding them there. As I said, if you stick around towards the end of the video, I'm going to give you that extra bonus there, which is how to create the little thumbnail that will go on here instead of there just being this little blank T. Now I'm going to make a screenshot. So what I like to do is I keep this open for my macros, and I keep this one open for the path all of the way to my folder for the titles, and I have my screenshot here, which was to my desktop. I'm just going to drag this one right to here. This must be in the same folder as the title. That way, the path is relative to this. Then what we need to do, so what you should do here, you see this is subscribe_particles. Easiest thing to do is just come here, select it, and copy. It must be matching exactly. Then we're going to come here, and we're going to change that. Command V. There we go. Okay, so for some reason, for that one, I had to quit DaVinci Resolve and reload it, and now, as you can see here, we have the subscribe on there. If this kind of video is really working for you, I do appreciate for that like and subscribe, and if you take a look at this video, I think it's on this side, maybe it's on this side, pretty sure it's on this side. This video can really help you speed up your color editing process without having to make color space transforms in the color page. Or if you do need to learn how to do that, it also covers that. So I suggest taking a look at that, and I look forward to seeing you in the next one.